Wonderful. That sounds nice.
Cool. All right. So we're going to learn how to play the spoons. So I hope you all have your 2 spoons that are matching and have a nice end that's not too thin at the end, not too thick. So the first thing we're going to do to learn how to hold the spoons is you're going to take 1 spoon, put it bowl side up, I guess you could say, the way you would regularly hold it. And you're just going to put it in your hand. Just put your hand over it like this. It's pretty easy. So if you see my hand, I'm going like straight down over it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this next spoon. We're going to put it the bowl side down, so the opposite way of the top spoon. And then what you're going to do with this one is put it between your, what finger is this? My middle finger and my ring finger. So there's 2 fingers in between the top and the bottom. And so this is the part where it gets a little tricky. So I'm going to turn my hand this way. So if you can see, my bottom 2 fingers are wrapped around the bottom of the spoon to hold it in place. And then my top fingers, this finger is just kind of hanging out, helping, but not doing too much. But really in my top hand, it's just this that's holding that spoon. So I've got my bottom 2 fingers wrapped around supporting that bottom one. And I'll just hold this here for a second. All right, so if you think you've got that, if you could just hold it up to the screen, I'll take a look and see what you've got. Cool, Elizabeth, you looks good. Joel, can you move yours a little more on the screen? There you go. Cool. I would say, what is that one? Your top one, you can push it in a little bit more. And let's see. Cool. Looks good. Another thing that helps is if you look at the bowls, you want to have a tiny bit of room between the 2. So you might want to adjust your spoons whatever way you can to get a tiny bit of room. So make sure you have enough handle here that they can spread out a little bit, but not too much. Cool. All right. We're looking good. Sweet. Okay. Now, when we play, what we're doing is we're hitting this bottom one only, and then the momentum is just going to send the top one into the bottom one. So if I hit my hand just to show you, right, I hit just the bottom spoon. For right now, I'm just hitting with the tip. And then the top one should come down onto the bottom one. See, everyone doing well with that? Thumbs up if you got that. Cool. Okay, great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this basic concept. And before we do that, just something after this lesson, if you want to play around, you'll notice that hitting the spoon at different points on the bowl will make different sounds. So if you hit it right on the tip, you might get one sound. I get a very different sound if I hit the whole bowl on my hand, the side, everything gives a different sound. So after this video, if you want to experiment with being expressive with your spoons, you can hit with different parts of the spoon to see what kind of expression you can get out of that. For right now, just don't worry about that too much. We're just going to work on the technique. So now we've got our spoons in hand. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see more of me. And what we're going to do now is we're going to learn, since I was talking about the Quebecois style of playing, I'm going to teach you a Quebecois rhythm. We're going to learn that Gallo rhythm. So Gallo, again, is the Quebecois way of saying like little gallop, petit galop. And that's a basic pattern in Quebecois music. So what we're going to do is you're going to put your spoons over your leg, over your thigh, and then whichever hand is not holding the spoons, you're going to hold that just above your leg. And then you're going to the spoons are going to go in a little arc on your leg, but we're going to use the Gallo pattern. So it's going to sound like this. So I'm going like the back of my leg, forward, up in an arc, and back down. So, and I'll just do this pretty slow, and if you want to try it with me. And one thing that some people do sometimes, remember this hand isn't moving. If you watch my hand, I'm not moving this hand to hit my spoons. That's too much energy, right? That's all coming from this hand. So it's really all just this bottom spoon hitting my leg and then this top spoon hitting up here. Then you can get creative with your patterns. So that's our first basic thing to do. Next thing we're going to do is, once you get that down, and that's going to take some time to get it down in a nice rhythm. In a minute or two, I'm going to show you something you might use to practice this. But before we do that, I'm going to teach you an embellishment. So that's a basic pattern to do. Then another thing you can do with the spoons is you can do what's called a spoon roll. So a spoon roll is when you hold your non-dominant hand, kind of splay out your fingers, and then that bottom spoon is going to roll and hit every finger, and it's going to make a little roll effect. So it'll sound like this. And I will say, getting that down takes some time. So if it's not working right now, do not despair. When I was studying spoons in Quebec, it took me like a lot of practice to be able to do this consistently and in a way that didn't hurt my hand so much. But again, what you're doing is you're splaying out your hand and then the spoon is going down every finger. You're just letting it go down. And don't press too hard because you don't want to hurt your hand. So try to find a balance where it's not going to hurt.
You're making that look too easy, Carolyn.
Right. Practice. It takes some practice. Okay, so that is something you're going to have to practice on your own. Very nice, Duffy. I see that. So now the next thing I wanted to teach you, so these are some things, again, you're not going to instantly get them. You're just going to take some time to practice. The next thing we're going to do is, if you remember in the Quebecois video, sometimes when they play spoons, they use their feet as well. So I'm going to show you how to do the foot accompaniment. So if you do master this, it's cool to get the feet going as well. And you're not going to see my feet for this second, but I'm just going to play both just so you can hear what it sounds like. So my feet are doing the same thing as my hands. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to move my camera down so you can see my feet. I decided to wear some socks for this to be a little festive. So cool. All right, you can see my feet. Put my microphone here. All right, so when you do this with your feet, again, we're going to do this, the Gallo pattern. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, let me see. So you're going forward with your heel, back with your toe, and then a stomp with your other foot. So for me, this is my right foot that's doing the heel and the toe, and my left foot is stomping. Gallo, Gallo. If you speak in music terms, this is like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So that's the same pattern that we just learned on our spoons. Now we're putting it into our feet. And putting them together is kind of difficult, but it's something to work on. Again, I studied this in Quebec with a spoons master for a while, so it took some time to learn. So that's the basic pattern. If I was not doing it on a rug, it would sound more expressive. And then once you get that, you can experiment with other patterns. So a common one is the double gallo that we talked about before. So double gallo, double gallo, double gallo. So again, you can experiment with that. Okay. Before I keep going from there, how are we feeling? Thumbs up. Cool. All right. Cool.
All
right.
Carolyn, I'm just going to jump onto another call. So it was lovely seeing you guys, but you guys stay on here. I'm jumping on to the next lesson, but I'll just leave this on. It'll stay recorded. You don't need to do anything. It will save for me, and I'll reach out to you guys another time. But enjoy the rest of the lesson.
Cool. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
All right. So that's the basics. There's some other things that you can do with the spoons. We're not going to go into them so much today, but to practice that, what I feel like helps a lot is when you can do it with some music. So there's a video I'm going to show you guys. Let me get to it. So this is a video that's on my presentation, so you'll get a link to this. What I like about this video is that there is the foot pattern, but no spoons, so you can be the spoons as you practice it. So let me just present my screen. Ta-da. Okay, so this is from a Quebecois group called Untitled Chapter, and their fiddle player is going to be doing the foot percussion as he goes. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit so we'll see what this is like in this video. So if you can hear, he's doing the Gallo pattern. Gallo, 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 Gallo. Now, this is a really fast video. So to practice, what I recommend is going to your settings here and then changing the playback speed. So if we go to 75%. If that still feels fast to practice, when I do this with my class, sometimes we go to 50%. So that's a nice video to practice along with, because then when you're using a video, then you can make sure that you're staying in time as you learn. And then when you practice the little, this roll that we put in, once you get that down, you can just add it anywhere in the music. So a lot of times it's good to do it like on a downbeat, but it doesn't always have to be there. So you can experiment with that. Some other cool things to do, just to give you some other things if you want to try. One is to do a roll down your arm. This does not work so well when you're not wearing sleeves, so we'll see how this goes. Ah. So it works better with sleeves on, but essentially what I'm trying to do is get some friction as I'm going down my arm. You can hear it a little bit. To get a kind of arm roll. It's mostly just for like an effect to make everyone think you're super fancy. Also, we learned about hitting the spoon on your thigh, but if you can hit your spoon anywhere, right? Like when I do this with kids, I hit my head, I still get a sound, right? I hit my shoulder. Right, anything like that. So those are some things to help to add to your playing as you go. There's also other patterns with your hand. There's one where you just do this. So you do that, I don't know if it's coming over the mic very well, but it's like another little roll, but like different than this one. So you would do a pattern like this. And then add that in. In the links, I put a video to David Holt teaching a spoon lesson, and he shows how to do this. So if you didn't quite catch it from what I'm doing, check out his video as well. So I figured I would stop around there and then take any questions, comments, and then we can figure out if we want to keep going or stop. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Sure. The place I've encountered this before is with mountain spoons, which it's a different grip for that. It's just you rotate them on your middle finger between your, like that, mainly, trying to show, which means that they're kind of joined at the base here. I think it's designed so that, so that it's kind of louder but more mobile. But I wondered, with this other method, I could see how it's a stronger grip and gets a louder sound. But do you know, like, if there are any traditions where they use the stems? Because it seems like both of them, like, just use the bowls of the spoon. I was wondering if that's intentional.
Yeah. I actually don't know of any traditions that use the stems. I know in Turkish spoons, you're holding them more this way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not good at this one, but you're making the sound go that way. And a lesson there of Turkish spoon holding in my presentation. But yeah, that's a very good question. I do not know the answer to that.
That one is one from Zydeco. I've seen people playing the spoons like that, and then they play the washboard where they hold the spoons like by this part.
Okay, that makes sense.
Put their thumbs in there, so they'll like play a little bit here, and then do some fancy junk and put it in something else.
And put it back. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's like multi-instrumental in one instrument, I guess.
Very cool.
Yeah. What's cool about this?
It gets sharpened too by playing it, or like this part gets sharpened.
Yeah.
So it's like then they're kind of stabbing themselves in the hand sometimes.
Oh my god, yeah. Then it becomes a little lethal.
Yeah, I've seen the saw played before, and I'm just like, that looks so hazardous.
All right.
Yeah, and not just for the person playing it, but it's like, how do you run a like bow against a saw and not just wind up with a whole bunch of shredded bows? I don't play the saw.
Yeah, I use a bow on my vibraphone, but I always use an old bow because you don't want to if people who don't know what a vibraphone is, it's this thing.
I've never seen a bow played on one of those though, so
yeah,
I can see how that would work, but yeah.
On the notes like this, and it goes like
okay.
But you always use an old bow because you don't like you're putting a bow on metal, so it's gonna hurt the bow.
Also, that's really cool that you could be like vibraphone exhibit A right there. That was cool.
Right. This is usually the vibraphone spot, which is why I have this fancy black backdrop. Just so it's randomly over here right now. Yeah, cool. So one last thing I want to say about the spoons, once you know how to play them, they're cool to break out. Like if you ever go to any sort of folk festival, you can bring a pair of spoons and like get into a jam, play the spoons with people. Or like, I don't know, sometimes I teach this to my students and then they'll say, oh, we had a house party and I played the spoons with my grandpa or something. So it's a fun little party trick to say that you can play the spoons.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have like a question too. They keep like drifting, and I don't know which one. Do I hold them both really tight or kind of loose, or they seem to want to move more places than I would like them to?
Yeah, so the main one you're holding tight is that bottom one, because that one you want to be like rock steady. Because again, the momentum is bringing the top one to the bottom one. So the bottom one should be nice and steady. So I'm really keeping my two fingers gripping around the shaft of the spoon. The top one I'm kind of more lazily holding it. Like the point of your middle finger in this grip is to keep that top one from moving around, but it's not gripping as hard as I'm gripping the bottom. And when I say I'm gripping hard, I should say I'm not like digging my fingers into the spoon, right? I'm not like hurting myself by doing it, but just hard enough that it's going to be steady. And then the top spoon, this is here a little more loosely, but keeping it supported. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Sweet.
And people like, I'm trying to also think about making wooden spoons because I do that a bunch for work.
Oh,
You
yeah?
can play it with wooden spoons. I feel like to learn that might be better because I won't be just making a friggin' racket with these.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like when I go places, I always bring my wooden ones because the sound is so, it's just a nicer sound, I think. And there have been times when I've gone to folk festivals and brought this, and people will be like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you don't have the metal spoons because they're not as tinny on your ears." So yeah, absolutely. If you can make wooden spoons, that's awesome. And when you do think about bowl, like this one, if you see the bowls are the opposite, so I can get less spoon sounds out of this than I would out of a metal spoon because the bowls are flipped. This is like the cheap version of the Quebecois spoons. The other ones where the bowls are flipped the same way as a spoon, you can get all the sounds that you would from a bowl. This is more like I guess like a castanet spoon version, you could say. And yeah, having this handle really helps as well. Sweet. Well, I hope this was was cool. I hope you guys enjoyed learning the spoons.
So bad.
Great, cool. I did say I would play my vibes at the end since we were talking about that before this started. Would you guys like to hear a vibraphone unrelated to spoons? Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me roll it back over.
I also want to just say that if everybody did not get that, like miking them or muting themselves on their mic, and while we were all practicing, just like what that would sound like with six
Oh my
people trying to learn how to play the spoons at once. So I
Yeah.
feel for like when you do this in person again.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sounds like
When I do it in my classes, it's like, okay, so it's a lot of noise. Now we're gonna stop. Now we're gonna think about how we would do this. Now we're gonna try it again. But I teach college, so they're all cool about it. All right. So this is a vibraphone bonus lesson. The vibraphone is in the percussion family. It's very often mistaken for a xylophone, but a xylophone is not a vibraphone. That's a different instrument. The vibes are used a lot in jazz music. Yeah, good, cool. And what's cool about the vibes is they're made of metal, and then they have a pedal. So if you can see, there's a bar going up and down here. I'm pressing on the pedal, and what that's doing is making this dampening bar go up and down. So if the bar is up, it sounds like this. When it's down, the notes can ring out. And then there's also a motor. I don't have it plugged in right now, but if I did, this is what the motor would make a sound like. I don't know if you're hearing that on my mic, but I made it go like wow, 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 wow. So when the motor's plugged in, it makes all the notes ring like that, but it's not plugged in right now. So yeah, I guess I'll just play us out with a tune. What should I play? I'll play, you know what? I'll play an old tune called Fine and Dandy that I am working on, so I should practice it anyways. So just something fun. Goes like this. Sweet. Well, thank you all again. This has been fun. Appreciate it. And have a great day.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
That's so fun. Bye.
Bye, everyone.